Fix this real quick. Save. What's that one? Good morning. All right. We're live. I think we're live. We're going to go fight somebody. Morning. Welcome to Manhunt. Today is Saturday. It's April 4th today. Very excited. It is a little early, and I stayed up a little bit late, so I am a little bit tired, but it's going to be all right. We're going to get through. It's going to be great. Donnie, good morning, man. Wow, right when we start, you're in here right off the bat. I love it. Welcome in. We're going to fight some putrescents real quick. Okay, a little delayed. Hold on. All right, perfect. Well, that went well. Finished Joshua today. Cover to cover 3 months. Donnie, that is very fast. That's very fast. That's cool, man. I will not finish the Bible cover to cover in 3 months. But that's pretty awesome, man. All right, so it is Saturday. It's the 4th. Genesis now in the first week. That's awesome, dude. Praise God. That's cool. Praying you get a lot out of it. That's great. I usually try to go through the Bible once a year, and then I do random study and stuff for things like this, and then I'm actually getting to start teaching on Sunday morning, or Sunday evenings, actually. The evening service at first. So excited about that. But today we're going to be going into Job 34 and 35. Elihu is about to take up the little preaching throne, and he's going to say a lot and not a lot at the same time. Basically, he's like, hey, God is not unjust. Job's gone a little too far. And honestly, a lot of what Elihu says is generally true. God is just. God does not act wickedly. God's above us. He's greater than we are. But still, once again, we have the same kind of common theme where what they're saying is right in principle, but they're either over-applying it or applying it incorrectly, and even Elihu's doing the same thing. And he's also angry, so he's saying probably more than he should say. So that's what we're going into today. Hold on. I'm going to see if I can... I doubt you can actually... poison. I don't have any idea how this guy attacks yet, so I gotta wait and figure out a little bit. Oh, there's a... Okay. Where's the horse? Okay. All right. Well, there you go. I definitely have. Having gone from the Gospels to randomly reading, it's much harder. Yeah. I can understand that for sure, man. I keep giving up on Elden Ring because I keep dying to regular enemies. Yeah, that's a part of the fun, dude. That's a part of the fun. You just got to soak it up. Soak it up. Bella, good morning. Welcome in. Happy to have you here. All right, before we get into the chapter, we're going through our daily gratitude and the, well, if I had a pulled one, the daily proverb. 1 second, I'll find one real quick. It'll be fast. We'll pick a good one. All right. Proverbs 11, verse 3, the integrity of the upright guides them, but the crookedness of the treacherous destroys them. Very common theme throughout Proverbs is the wicked are destroyed, the righteous will be upright. Those who pick the path of goodness, they're blessed. Those who don't, they're essentially cursed. Yeah, Donnie, you just can't give up. This is a part of life is, hey, at some point you become the unstoppable force, and it's no longer the boss that's the problem, it's you. Because it doesn't matter how many times you die, you're just going to keep showing up, even if it's a regular enemy. Sometimes those are the bosses in our life, you know? All right. Okay, 1, 2. I rolled, and it did nothing. Yeah, that's what's fun about this one. Things like Dark Souls are a little bit harder because you actually get stuck in the midst of it. You're kind of forced to fight who you're in front of. All right. My gratefulness for the day. If you guys want to add yours in, feel free to. I go through 3 things I'm thankful for every morning. My first thing, we got to go to our church's Good Friday service. Noah, welcome in, man. We got to go to our church's Good Friday service, and that was phenomenal. It was very, very good. There is something about just like a straight up gospel presentation that I'm just always a huge fan of. That doesn't get old to me. Just hearing the best news in the world like reshared. So super, super good. I really enjoyed that. I'm grateful for how work is starting to go, and I'm starting to get to focus on the things that I think are going to actually be helpful to move this business forward. So I'm super grateful for that. 1, 2. I don't know how this guy works yet. I got to figure this out real quick. 1, 2, 3. Horse runs you over. Oh, he comes twice. Okay. Yeah, that's probably a good move. Bella's probably right. You got to use talisman buffs. Yeah, see that? I feel like they're just waiting for me to heal. Like, they'll stand there for 5 minutes, and then they'll, as soon as I heal, they'll keep going. Third thing I'm grateful for is I got to have a game night with a couple of my buddies last night, which was super sweet. Had a good time. So I'm grateful for that as well. Oh, Donnie, you got to go explore, man. You got to go find some stuff. Did you go to the first church in front of you when you got out? When you went out, because that's a good place to start. I'm still in the very first area. I just keep dying to random things. So yeah, vibes. Welcome in, man. Okay, quick recap for those of us who have not followed the story up to this point. We're in the book of Job. And up to this point in the book of Job, Job has lost everything. And that's based on the idea of the accuser, the adversary came, what we call Satan. That is a word that means adversary or accuser. I think this is similar to, and we've talked about this before, but similar to like the concept of what we call angels. Angel is like it's a title of what you do, not what you are. It's like an angel is a messenger. It literally just means messenger. And the Satan is the adversary or the accuser. So it, rather than a name, it is more of like a title or a role that is played, right? So God gives authority because God controls everything. He gives authority to the accuser, the adversary, to go and strike Job and essentially test his ability to stay righteous before God. And so he does do that. Job loses everything in like the span of 1 to 2 days. Everything from his children, his livestock, his well-being, his health, all of it, all at once. Nas, thank you for following, man. And then spends chapter after chapter arguing with his 3 friends who insist that his suffering must be because he is sinning. But Job defended his integrity, pushed back against their shallow explanations of what could be the possible reason. Noah, thanks for following, man. Could be the possible reason for his suffering. And then in chapters 32 and 33, which we did yesterday, we see this random young guy come into play who has not been mentioned before in the story. And I am not doing good with the timing right now. Okay, well, that went great. This is going to be rough. This one's going to be rough. We're just going to stand at the edge of that abyss and just read the chapters and not go in there. So Elihu comes in. Unlike the others, Elihu is just an interesting thing because he comes in angry. He's a young guy. He's mad. And he doesn't simply say that suffering is punishment. Instead, he suggests that suffering may be a way that God warns or God humbles, God redirects a person. And now in 34-35, which what we're going into today, he keeps going. But his tone gets a lot stronger, and his defense of God becomes much more forceful, which we're going to see here in just a second. So that's where we're at. With that, we're going into today's reading, which will be great. So starting in chapter 34 of Job, that's where we're at if you want to follow along. And you'll get my broken explanation of it all. Okay, so Elihu answered and said, "Hear my words, you wise men." Remember, he's established, hey, I'm younger than you, but just because I'm younger, it doesn't mean I'm not as wise as you are, for the fear of God is what brings wisdom, right? That's his whole kind of contention, is God gives wisdom, not me. Can I hire you to read me stories while I fall asleep? You just leave this on and go lay down. Sure. Yeah. What's funny is I hate my voice, so that blesses me a lot to hear you say that. Thanks for the honor. I appreciate it. So hear my words, you wise men, and give ear to me, you who know. For the ear tests words, and the palate tastes food. Let us choose what is right. Let us know among ourselves what is good. For Job has said, I am in the right. What's going on? I don't know what language that is, but what's going on at whatever language that is? Welcome in. We're going to die. I can already tell I'm going to die before he even gets over here. Look at that. We did damage on him that time. We're doing good. And roll. Roll. And roll. Roll. I didn't take any damage. Hold on. He's good at using my... Let's do this. Did we get it? We got it. I rolled. I'm gonna die. Okay, I died. We tried. All right, let us choose what is right. Let us know among ourselves what is good. For Job has said, I am in the right, and God has taken away my right. I think that's generally a fair characterization. It might be an oversimplification by a long shot, but he's not at least too far off with what he's saying there. And then he says, in spite of my right, I am counted a liar. My wound is incurable, though I am without transgression. This is where I think this is like a pretty big oversimplification of what Job was saying, because Job was not saying that he has no sin. What he was saying is that there's like, I have been righteous and upright. I have not done some secret sin that God is bringing retribution on me for. And he already tells them, he's like, I know no man can be righteous before God. I know that there is no way that I am perfect and flawless before God. And so Elihu's coming in and like hearing what Job is saying, which is like, hey, though I have been righteous, I'm suffering. And Elihu's taking that and being like, oh, so what you're saying is you're perfect and it's God who's doing wrong. And Job's like, Job's not saying anything right now. It's just Elihu speaking. But Job's like, no, that's not what I said. Those aren't the words that I used. You've taken a fairly long back and forth and oversimplified it to like a degree to where it makes no sense anymore. So he's like, for Job has said, I am in the right. God has taken away my right. In spite of my right, I am counted a liar. My wound is incurable, though I am without transgression. So he's frustrated at the fact that Job has spent the entire time justifying himself. And in Elihu's mind, essentially tearing down God, right? He's completely abandoned any justification of God, his character, who he is, and has moved into only a justification for himself. And then he says, what man is like Job, who drinks up scoffing like water, who travels in company with evildoers? So he's going straight into just like a hardcore accusation of Job's disgrace, right? Like he's saying this guy is there's no one as evil as Job, right? When we know that God has established the authority that there is no one as righteous as Job. And Elihu's super frustrated because of the way that Job is speaking, because in his mind, you should never even question God. And so he sits there and he's like, this guy is a companion of evildoers. Oh my goodness, hold on. Okay, well, that was quick. We gotta lock it in a little bit. Jandy Goldbeak, thank you for following. Morning, Bulls Mom. Welcome in. Happy Saturday. What do you call it? What do you call the Saturday between Good Friday and Easter Sunday? Is that like Dark Saturday? I don't know. I'm not sure. Happy to have you here, though. All right. Oh, it's Sad Saturday? Is that true, or is that just a joke? Because I feel like that would feel a little too on the nose. But it might be. I'm not sure. One second. I got to fix something here. Kentucky Wildcat Dad. Those are the worst friends. They should have done what they did originally and just listen. I I think that is probably somewhat accurate. It's tough for me because I'm like, I see Keenan's telling me I should go and find more Shadow Tree fragments because I'm taking a lot of damage. That might be true. The problem is I don't know where to go. Like I wander into holes and then I just go and fight whatever's there. You know what I mean? Like I'm not overthinking it, but that just causes a lot of pain and suffering. You know. Can I find a way up onto this little area? How do I get up there? There's too much verticality as well. This is what's confusing to me. So like I've made it to the Cerulean Coast. We've gone out here and beat this dancer lady. But then it's like, how do I get, like I think I am down in this hole, right? Oh, man, you're way underground. Whoops, there we go. I'll go back over here, see if we can find something else. We'll do that. That sounds good. Then we'll come back. That's how I feel thinking about him laying in his cold tomb. Yeah, it is sad. Oh, sorry, Kentucky. I don't want to hear what we were talking about there. Yeah, it's tough for me, man, because I feel like what this showcases is like a poetic, like what's the word? Like microcosm. It's tough because I'm like, what I see is like, man, it's like a boiled down version of what we all attempt to do when we see someone suffering, right? And I think it's beautiful and wonderful because we get to see, hey, what we should do is sit and listen, and just provide peace, provide just like companionship, like the ministry of like just your presence being our core focus. And so that part is like, it's a big blessing that we get to see this in Joe, but so many of us, like this is such a consistent issue with us when we see someone either suffering or something happens in someone's life. We pick one of these paths, right? Usually that is how we respond, is like, hey, we either try to bring them some element of explanation because in our minds we think that's going to make them feel better or full. We try to solve it by showing them, here's what you need to do to fix this. And so I see it almost as like his friend group is the like quintessential friend, the person that tries to help you understand your suffering and help you like grasp why this is happening and provide a solution for you. And so you're not wrong. It's like, yeah, they're the worst friends. It's like, and we all are, right? Like that's all of us. We're all the worst. We're all the worst. We're all the worst friends. And this is like a teaching moment for us both in I think a lot of us take the mindset of we are Job, like we always think about like, what would I do in this situation? How would I think? And I think what we're supposed to do is also kind of like take in, I'm Elihu. I'm this young guy who has too high of a thought of myself, right? Like I think I have too much value, too much importance. And so I'll sit here and I'll have to give my wisdom, my understanding, my thoughts when it's like, I really don't need to. I'm like Bildad. I don't provide any, any direct like help before I just correct. Right. Or, the first guy, oh my goodness, Eliphaz. There we go. So Eliphaz is like, he's like the quintessential, I'm wiser than I actually am, right? I come in, I'm gonna open up with soft words so that I can kind of bring comfort, and then I'll hit him with the actual wisdom. I'll fix it. Or I'm Zophar, and I've got no like, oh man, did I not pick that up? Zophar is a good example of like someone who comes in just super hot with like he too harsh, too direct, too blunt, and makes way too many just accusational assumptions. Ouch. Holy smokes. That guy is angry. Oh, he disappeared. I feel like we should be able to get this. There we go. We got him. Did they drop anything? No. All right. Wait, that's what? Hey, Health and Fitness, welcome in. I don't know what's what. I might have forgotten what we were talking about. St. Trina's cookbook. Man, we got to start like making stuff. We don't ever make anything. Probably do better if we did. What's this? Okay. All right, let's keep reading. For he says it profits a man nothing that he should take delight in God. Job never, ever said that. That never came in. Oh, Zophar. So we're reading through Job right now. So I was just making a connection between kind of Zophar's general theme of how he responded to Job. And we could say these people are bad friends, but I think it's it's the quintessential root or baseline of a lot of what we do is we'll come in with one of these general kind of missteps with how we're interacting with our friends, with how we're bringing, whether it's consolation or just trying to love on somebody. I was making a connection back to Zophar. Sometimes I get distracted though, and I don't keep a solid thoroughfare of my thought. So it's totally fair that may have been the case. Look at this. Just found something. All right, so he says it profits a man nothing that he should take delight in God. That is not something that Job actually said. Now, Job was making a point earlier on about the fact that it's like, man, a man can do all this good and yet still experience suffering, right? And so what he was making the point is he was doing this like kind of contrast of good men suffer, and then I see these wicked men who seem to prosper, right? They seem to lift up. I don't know what it was, but the eclipse last night on Good Friday hit different for me. I didn't know there was an eclipse last night. I'm not sure, man. I'm not sure. God is good even when life is not. Very, very true. Yeah, I totally agree. What is this sign right here? Can we go across? Be wary of tarnished. Be wary of whole. Okay, don't go across. It's telling me I can't do that. Well, it looks like it can do that. Oh, I can go across. What's over here? The tinkling in this game. Oh, I almost just died. It sounds too much like those scarabs in this Cerulean Coast area or whatever. It sounds like there's scarabs all over around me, and there's not. Well, at least I don't think there might be. I don't think there are. Trey, thanks for following, man. Okay. Don't hit these guys. They're friendly. Nope, not there. I'm reminded of Ecclesiastes 9:11. I can't. What, you want to share it? You want to put the little quotation there? Wasn't an eclipse, just the way the weather made it seem like one. I heard that we were supposed to have like one of those storms that bring the northern lights in, but we had clouds everywhere on us, so we didn't get to see it. Miggy, thank you so much for following, man. Thank you so much. Let's see here. That was probably a mistake. I didn't realize how far of a drop that was. That was a mistake. Sorry, y'all. That was a mistake. All right. Therefore, hear me, you men of understanding. Far be it from God that he should do wickedness. And everyone's like, well, duh. Yes, I think that's what we've all just got done saying. And far be it from the Almighty that he should do wrong. For according to the work of a man, he will repay him. So now, Elihu is essentially landing at the very same spot that all his other friends did, which is that God will repay a man who does evil, and he will uplift a man who is righteous. It is this root core theme, which again, at a baseline, is generally true, right? Generally, we look through Proverbs, we look through the entirety of the Bible, is that God protects those he loves. He protects those who attempt to follow and have relationship with him. The difference there is that no man can be righteous, which they all end up saying, all right, throughout this story. Job seems to have a deeper understanding for the need of a mediator than any of them, because he brings it up multiple times. I need someone to come between me and God and provide a pathway for me to be seen right in his sight so that I can be done with this suffering. And then these guys are like, it's really simple, Job. Just repent and actually do good, and everything's going to be okay. And he's like, I don't think it is that simple because I have no idea what I did wrong, and I don't know what's going on. And it seems like I'm seeing all these wicked people prosper and myself suffer to the ends of the earth, and I don't get it. And there is this wrestling happening, and now Elihu's just angry, and he's like, hey, I can't keep quiet anymore. I know I'm the youngest, but I'm gonna preach to you guys, and you should listen. And now he's saying very, very, very little extra, but he doesn't say things that are necessarily incorrect about God's character, just oversimplified. And so I keep almost getting hit by that. That's crazy. According to the work of a man, he shall repay him, and according to his ways, he will make it befall him. Can you see the? Yeah, you can. You can see him sticking out. There we go. We're going back up to the top. According to his ways, he will make it befall him. Of a truth, God will not do wickedly. And everyone said, well, yes, amen. Elihu, I'm not sure what you're talking about, though, because none of us said he does do wickedly. There's nothing up here. This is a waste of time. We're going to go up this little hill. God will not do wickedly, and the Almighty will not pervert justice. Who gave him charge over the earth, and who laid on him the whole world? If he should set his heart to it and gather to himself his spirit and his breath, all flesh would perish together. So God has enough power and authority here that he can do whatever he wants. If he wants to just pull the breath, all the breath that he gave to mankind in the beginning, just to pull it out of them, he can do that. Right, he can take it away. It's his to take. It's his to give. It's all his. Everything that he's given, he can take straight back away from us. All right, 1 second. Son of the king, Ecclesiastes 9:11. I have seen something else under the sun. The race is not to the swift, or the battle to the strong, nor does food come to the wise, or wealth to the brilliant, or favor to the learned. But time and chance happen to them all. Yeah, I think that's a good call. It's like even in ecclesiastical wisdom, there's still the concept of, is this the thumb area? Oh, this is the thumb area. I didn't realize this is where we were. It's a good reminder that it's like all this stuff can happen. Hey, Pops, good morning. Welcome in. Happy to have you here. Hey, Repent. Welcome in. I like your name. We all need to do that. Am I right? Repent. Look at this. I don't think I could do anything here until I get further along in stuff. But maybe there's some shadow tree fragments. I don't feel like I'm that unshadow treed. You know what I mean? Joe has been on my mind a lot lately. Yeah. Well, James, he has been on my mind a lot too. But that's because I've been reading through it every day. It's a good story. I feel like this has been really good for me, just because I haven't studied it to this depth before in preparation for something like this. And so seeing kind of the core, those are the scary things. Seeing the core of like what Job is really, the message Job is trying to deliver has been really helpful to me. Yeah, it's been good for me too, Donnie. Appreciate that. There's got to be something at the end of this, right? There's no way this is just a useless cliffside. Nope, it's not. What's this thing do? Remembrance duplication. I have a question as a non-religious person, but also a person who is not against the idea of it. Sure, Jacob, go ahead. What do you got? Son of the king, God allows us to go hungry, but he also feeds us. The wicked may prosper because of this fallen world. Yeah, I mean, at the end of it all, the problem with these things, real quick, before I keep going, the problem with these things is I have no idea what I should duplicate, and so then I feel like, well, I can't waste it, and then I never use any of them, and nothing's ever duplicated, and I don't ever get any use out of anything. So that's my gripe, is the suffering of choice right now, which is such a small thing to suffer through. But Jacob, yeah, please give us your question. Okay. So if he should set his heart to it and gather to himself his spirit and his breath, all flesh would perish together, and man would turn to dust. If you have understanding, hear this. Listen to what I say. Shall one who hates justice govern? Will you condemn him who is righteous and mighty? So essentially, he's asserting that Job essentially hates justice if he's saying that because he's not defending God's justice, even though God is always just in Elihu's mind and would never do anything outside of his perfect justice, which is not untrue, right? That's not necessarily untrue. What he's saying is generally correct, that God does have perfect justice. And the reality is his perfect justice means that we all deserve a fate worse than what Job received, right? And I think that's the hardest thing to grapple with. I don't think there's anything down here right now. I think we have to go through that entire, we have to go to whatever that church thing is that weird Pope-looking dude sits at. Don't let that guy see me. I gotta read Jacob's question. Okay, what would be the difference in there being a God who created everything and has always been versus the universe always being and always will? So, man, this is Bull's mom. Will you throw Matthew 5:45 in the chat and we can read it? The law of thermodynamics won't allow it as it stands to exist without a beginning. Well, we see that the universe is fluid, it changes, but God, I think where Son of King is going is God doesn't. I think, man, so here's the root of the truth of Christianity, Jacob, and this is something that a lot of people are not going to be comfortable with. The very core of the origin story of humanity is that God created us to be in right and perfect relationship with him, to trust him for the knowledge of right and wrong, right? This is sad Saturday, as Bull's mom says. This is a good time for us to do a bit of the truth of the background of humanity and the reason why we follow Christ, because I think it's extremely unique to almost any other world religion, because it is the true one. But what ends up happening is God creates mankind to be in right relationship with him, to live in perfection, right? This is what happens at the very beginning. It's the story of Adam and Eve, the quintessential story. And he blesses them, tells them to multiply, to overtake the earth, subdue it. He calls on them to name the animals, to tend and care for them. So essentially what he's done is he has created a being in his own image to be his ambassador, his authority, essentially his emissary here on this earth, taking care of everything, gardening it, and looking after everything that he has created, right? We are supposed to essentially be the kings under authority of the true king. And he says, go forth, multiply, become great, right? And eat of all the trees in the garden. I want you to eat of them. He says, like in the original translation, it's eat. It's like this over push for, hey, I want you to have plenty. I want you to eat whatever you want, do whatever you want, multiply, enjoy the fruit of the world, enjoy your labor, enjoy all this stuff. You're here for a reason. James can go more direct. I'm trying to break down to the root of why we ask this question, because I think it's more important than the answer to the question itself. That's my perspective. Could be totally wrong. But so take this, and then he says one thing. He says, now there's this tree that we've set, and it is the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Do not take of that tree, for the day you take of it, you shall surely die. Now, a lot of people are like, okay, well, why is the tree there in the first place? What's the root of this? Why is this even happening? I don't understand. Why did he do this? Did he want them to fall away? And I think it's very different than what some people believe it is, which what I see is that God is essentially saying, hey, you have a choice here. I'm giving you the authority of the earth, and you have the choice to either follow and obey my will, listen to what I say is right and is wrong, right? I've said everything else is right. Do whatever you want. And then this only one thing is wrong. It is to take the knowledge of good and evil upon yourself. To try and define that for yourself is the thing that is the one thing that you should not do. You should trust me, God, the creator of the universe, with this knowledge. And so mankind, what do? They're deceived. Eve is deceived. She gives the thing to Job. And then, not to Job, sorry, to Adam. And Adam takes of it as well. So he abdicates his responsibility, his leadership, his authority, and he partakes of this. And in that moment, mankind has said, God, we reject you. We are going to define good and evil for ourselves. This is terrifying. And he did no damage. Okay, cool. All right, we'll keep going. We're going to define good and evil for ourselves. I'm going to become. Oh my goodness, what is happening? Are they broken? Why do they keep doing that, but then not attacking when they get me down? Bob and weave. Bob and weave. So they define it for themselves. They essentially are saying, I am God. I'm going to define what I believe to be good and what I believe to be evil. And so when we ask the question of, hey, what's the difference between like us believing in a God versus us believing in just an expanding universe, it's once again our desire. And I know this can be kind of hard here because it's like, no, I don't have like a bias. I don't have this thing. But the reality is we all do. We're all fallen creatures who suppress the truth in our unrighteousness because we want to define good and evil for ourselves. And so when we ask that question, the real question is, I don't want to be under authority of the king. I don't want to be under authority of the God to tell me what is right and wrong. I want to take of the fruit. I want to own good and evil myself. So what's the difference between me just saying, hey, it's an expanding universe that I can own, I can build the authority on what good and evil are, versus there is one true God, man. He has graciously redeemed us through his son. He has fixed us. He doesn't leave us broken. He doesn't leave us abandoned. He has changed everything for us. Right? That's what's going on. Is he sent his son to redeem us. We rejected him. We denied him. We died spiritually. We were far away from him. Right? That's what Christianity truly is. It's the reality that we are all spiritually dead until Christ comes and supernaturally redeems us, gives us a new heart, and brings us back to life. So when I accept Christ, I am no longer the same creation. I am brought back into the right relationship with God, not based on my own works, not what I've done, but based on the reality of who Christ is. Christ lived a perfect life for me and then gave his life. So essentially, in essence, I from that point on take up his life, his perfect life. And I now trust once again my relationship with God for him to establish what is truly good and evil, live under his authority, his kingship, his rule, and be actually blessed. And then we're going to be restored at one point. God is going to restore heaven and earth. A lot of people believe that we're going to go and live in heaven forever. That's really not what the Bible says. It says there's going to be a new heaven and a new earth. We're going to be reestablished in our role and authority and take back up the mantle of carrying this earth. And that's why we see, this is where so many people struggle with the concept of how could a good God allow all this evil in the world? And the reality of that the answer to that question is, he allows it because he hasn't killed us all. We're the ones doing it, right? We're the ones causing all this problem. And so I just went off on a whole tangent. But I think that's where my mind goes when I hear questions like this of just, hey, like this is a more of a root heart issue of like, hey, I don't mind if there's a creator. I just don't want to be in subjection to him. And I would posit like that's the core root of the Christian issue. Sorry, Bull's mom, it took a long time. He makes his sun rise on the evil and on the good and sends the rain on the just and the unjust. Yeah, I love that. Love that. I'm reading through some stuff, sorry. Hey, what's going on, Rings of Truth? Welcome in. Yeah, Jacob, that's totally fair, man. It is extremely hard to wrap your head around the reality of a God. Extremely hard. And I don't judge you one bit, and I'm happy that you're here. And this is an interesting time to come in because we're going through Job, which is essentially a book that is all about like how do we deal with the suffering when God seemingly seems unfair? How do we deal with that? Yeah. Drastic Plastic. You're welcome to ask any question you'd like to, man. Yeah. Yeah, Donnie has a good point as well. How do we get to like this area? Because that's where I want to try to get to. But I don't have any idea. There's many different religions, but they are all similar in different aspects. So who is right? I'll tell you, man. Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. I could give you the whole. Well, I believe this, and the reality is, it is just flat out truth. There is not a religion that is like Christianity, and it is so far different than anything else. Everything else is how does mankind grow closer to God? And Christianity brings the truth that it's like no one will. There is no one that will draw close to God. And so God himself came down because he loved mankind enough to redeem us and saved us for him. He took the punishment. He is the only God that truly showcases perfect justice and perfect mercy. No person is getting off without payment for their sin. And so he provided for himself a sacrifice for our sake. How do we get... Oh, maybe that's not a place to go. Hold on. I'm going to get stuck. Do righteous people go to heaven? That depends on what you mean by that, Richard. My question would be, can man be righteous without Christ? And the answer is no. So if you're saying, can righteous people, as in people who follow Christ, go to heaven? Yes. Righteous by whose standard is a good question. Yeah. Because for us to say I'm righteous is to make a claim that can't be substantiated, right? Because we don't sin against anyone but God, right? That's like the reality is other people are harmed and hurt. Who we're sinning against is God himself. And so for man to be righteous is to live perfectly and flawlessly in what God has called him to live. And we don't do that. And so will righteous people go to heaven? Absolutely they will. Absolutely, righteous people will go to heaven. You know, Job was righteous in the eyes of God. Yeah, amen. Amen. And you know why? This is what I find so interesting. It's because Job understood the root. He had his hope in who God was, not who he was. He understood the root of what that meant. Right? And I think that's the difference between... I think I'm going to go here. I want to go down into this area. Here's where I want to go. We're going to try that. We're going to see how that goes. He was righteous in the eyes of God because he understood who God was, and he was staying in relationship with him. It wasn't that he was perfect, but uprightness, like someone who is blameless and upright, was someone who truly trusted who God was and understood the root nature of God's character. Right? It was someone who did not take the knowledge of good and evil into their own hands, but allowed for God to define that for them and to follow it. Yeah, we're going to head this way. There's a lot of chat going on. Crimson Desert. You know Crimson Desert is out. Yeah, Mari, we do. I haven't got it or started playing it, though. Ouch. Ouch. Hold on. We're trying to find Shadow Tree fragments. You got to play it. It's so peak. That's a good call out. Maybe I will. The problem is, like, when we're reading the word here, I just need something that is, like, I don't have to think a ton about. And maybe that's that game. I'm not sure. But it also can't have too much narrative content because otherwise it's going to be really confusing trying to read. Yeah, Jacob, I think some of the hardest thing for us to understand is, like, I think this would be like, imagine we're all cars and our creator is a human. And us asking the question of, like, well, where do they put the oil? And, you know, like, it's like we're so far away. Like, a created being is so far away from the, like, magnitude of what God is that we can't fathom that. And even that's like a weak example. It's like a super, super weak example of, like, what I'm talking about because he's so far beyond this concept. It'd be more like if, like, a clay pot was, like, wondering, it's like hey, a clay pot's like wondering, hey, where do I hold the water? And it's like that's such a, like, I'm a human. It's a clay pot. It's like I'm so far beyond the concept. Hey, thank you so much, Hawaii. I appreciate that. But you can hold. Oh, sure, you can hold water. I think it's the same thing like asking where was he before the creation. It's like, well, he was somewhere before the creation. It's the same concept here. It's like, but that's such a minuscule understanding of a creator when we are something so much smaller than what he is, right? And so it's like we're trying to answer questions of something we can't possibly fathom. We can't fathom an eternal thing, right? There's so much to you. We'll get lost in sidetrack. Thanks, Mari. Appreciate that context and clarity. All right. Yeah, Brensky, that's totally fair, man. And you can absolutely not listen to me. Yeah. Brensky says, how can you make that metaphor? What allows you to be the one to explain these metaphors? I'm just some random guy on the internet playing Elden Ring and reading the Bible. So totally fair call out. Don't listen to me. I don't have like a degree or anything. If we have people asking questions, so I'm answering them to the best of my ability. Thanks, Rice Daddy. I appreciate that. All right, we got to keep reading because we're going to run out of time. Who says to a king, worthless one, and to nobles, wicked man? So now he's calling out the grand difference of God versus us, right? God is greater than all of them. He can call even out the highest of authority here on earth. All right, so who says to them, worthless one, wicked man, who shows no partiality to princes, nor regards the rich more than the poor, for they are all the work of his hands. He is greater. He is far higher up. He's so far above us. And would I say astrology is satanic? I do not follow astrology, so I wouldn't pursue that. But I don't have the context as to what it is. Yeah. Okay. They're all the work of his hands. In a moment, they die. At midnight, the people are shaken and pass away, and the mighty are taken away by no human hand. For the eyes are on the ways of a man, and he sees all his steps. There is no gloom or deep darkness where evildoers may hide themselves. No one's hiding from God. That's what he's saying. No one's hiding from God. No matter the greatest or the lowest on earth, God shows no partiality. He is greater than all of us. We are all workmanship of his hands, and he will see and he will know, right? Presto. God literally mentions the Mazzaroth in the book of Job. Okay. I don't know what that means, Presto. Hey, have a good day, Jacob, man. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you being involved, dude. Seriously. We're back here every single morning, 7:30 a.m. Eastern, so we'll be here tomorrow morning as well. Have a good one. Richard, you're doing a fine job explaining the Bible and Elden Ring. Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. What is this guy doing? Is he suffering over here? He is suffering. Oh, man, sad. So sad.
Each lies a bloody ruin.
What's wrong?
Baal!
Did he fight Baal?
I will mark my word.
Dude, this guy's intense. Well, he did set the stars in the sky and the constellations. Presto, you're absolutely right. He did it. Can we save this guy somehow? Can we give him something? The Book of Job is a great pick. It's a book that largely is just misunderstood. Yeah, I think so. I think it is as well. I agree. Yeah, Presto, you're making accusations. I don't know if I'm following them, man. I'm happy you're back here though. Yeah, again, I don't think I made the point that it was necessarily demonic. I don't think that mankind's understanding of astrology works, but I mean, even at creation, God says, I'm putting the stars and the moon and sun in the sky to provide for signs and for days and marking of events, right? So whether that's calendar or it's some sort of sign piece. I mean, you look at the wise men going to see Jesus because the star appears in the sky. It's like there's some element of more reality there than just the simple, this is satanic, this is not. Now, I don't act to understand enough to be able to pursue it myself. And I wouldn't say that mankind's current understanding, it's like we're going to, like, so often what we do is we take something that could be generally good and then we will twist it and mess it up. And so this whole thing of like, is astrology itself like I am a whatever sign? I think that's astrology. I might be wrong on that. I don't trust that kind of a thing, but that doesn't mean there's not truth to the reality that God places these signs in the sky for specific meanings. He literally led people to Jesus through it. Pops, thank you for following. I appreciate it. Son of the King, thank you for following. I appreciate that. Ritual Books Songs, thank you for sharing the live. I appreciate it. Yeah, Presto. Yeah, I don't have any issue necessarily with it. I don't think I'm the guy to be like, yeah, I know astrology and I'm going to be able to call it out. So that's kind of where I'm at. Okay. For God has no need to consider a man further that he should go before God in judgment. He shatters the mighty without investigation and sets others in their place. The point he's making is he needs no investigation. He already knows everything. He's so far beyond what we understand. Sets others in their place. Thus, knowing their works, he overturns them in the night, and they are crushed. He strikes them for their wickedness in a place for all to see, because they turned aside from following him and had no regard for any of his ways. And we can see, Job, we can see that's you. He has torn you apart in public, on display for everyone to see. Everyone gets to see your shame, your nakedness. It's so very clear that you are guilty of something, and you're making it even worse by saying that you are righteous, that you are without blame. Once again, we have insight that these guys don't get to have. And so they're attempting to make use of this and also continue to bring glory to God. I think that's an important distinction as we're reading this. It's like these guys are attempting to maintain the honor and integrity of the Lord. And so they're not willing to necessarily hear Job out, because it would be like essentially verging on blasphemous what he's saying, because they're like, listen, we know God, and we're never going to allow you to talk down about him, and so there must be something you're doing wrong. And even by the sake of you saying you are flawless, but you're not flawless, but you're righteous, means that you must be even worse and you deserve more. And he's going to actually get into that here in a little bit. All right, so they turned aside from following him, had no regard for any of his ways, so that they caused the cry of the poor to come to him, and he heard the cry of the afflicted. When he is quiet, who can condemn? When he hides his face, who can behold him? Whether it be a nation or a man, that a godless man should not reign, that he should not ensnare the people. For as anyone said to God, I have become punishment. I will not offend any more. Teach me what I do not see. If I have done iniquity, I will do it no more. Right? So God's trying to correct. He's trying to condemn. He did it for his reason, man. Presto. He did it for his reason. Once again, man, this is where like our desire and our drive to put ourselves in the place of like the knowledge, the authority of God. It is a consistent thing for us to want to do, right? We want to take on, hey, here's what's right and wrong. God did this for no reason. I get to choose what's good and what's bad. And yeah, dude, and he gets to do what he wants to, man. What's up, Erich von Erich? Welcome in. Troy. Yeah, I think that's a fair, a generally fair understanding. And I think it's also interesting. Like, this is something to wrestle with, guys. I'm like, I don't act like I have a perfect example of this, but what I will say is the baseline of what is happening here is a reallocation of like God's authority over mankind's. First off, God owns like the Satan, right? The adversary, the accuser, is showing up to like come and give what do you call it? Like give his report. This understanding, this like total differentiation of like so many of like Christians today are viewing God as, well, God is in this battle with the devil, right? And what the book of Job shows very early on, I'm going to die. This is stressing me out. I lost my horse. Job shows very early on that it's like God is absolutely and completely in control of everything. He's in control of the adversary, the accuser. Should we rot breath him? We did it. Hold on. He missed. I missed him. Hold on. He's got... Oh, I'm going to die. I'm going to die. I'm going to die. Run. Ooh, I should have rolled. Should have rolled. We'll try it again. I kind of lost where I was at, though, so it's going to be rough. Does God not test his strongest followers? I mean, Corbin, I think that's the baseline of this entire book, is that's what he's saying, is he's like, hey... But in the reality of this, is like, man, I'm not a huge fan of... He's so sad. Where were we at? Oh, we're right over here. Okay. Oh, just further up this path. Is, man, God is greater than us, right? Like, he's so far above us, and he can do what he wants. Waldo. Welcome in, man. Happy to have you here, too. And I want to be careful with that, because God is very, very clear that he loves and redeems us. But even Job has an understanding that it's like no one is righteous before him, right? No one can stand up to him. Could say the same thing about Lot's situation, the claim of righteousness contrary to Jesus' teaching. Hearest, what is Lot's situation? Explain what you're saying there. Or lot? Are you saying lots of situations? We got him. We got him. Jesus says protect children. Okay. But what's Lot's situation? Oh. It's not working. Hold on. Have I beat Rilana? Is that the two-sword lady? Yes. I think I have beat Rilana. Hey, Presto, one of the things I'll say is, man, the Bible tells us about sins in a lot of people. And, like, it's very, very consistent. So, like, the concept that, like, Lot was considered righteous and he did this evil thing. It's like David was considered righteous and he literally had an affair with someone and then had the guy killed. I mean, that's not even the best example of like what we're talking about there, because there's so many people. It's like every single one of them did horrendous things and then repented and turned back to God. No, I know you're not. I know you're talking about Lot. No, I know. But my point is, like, they all sinned and they all did horrible, terrible things. I know. It was terrible. It was awful. But once again, like, righteousness doesn't come from a perfect following of the law. It comes from a right relationship with God. And so we're all doing evil. I think every single one of us understands the reality that we all do dramatically evil things, even if it's just inside my own heart and I'm able to keep myself seemingly upright in front of other people. I'm still a terribly wicked person. That's the only reason I would ever consider following Jesus, is because I understand I'm so messed up I can't redeem myself. And this, I mean, even this is where Job is at, right? He's like, he understands that. He understands the concept that it's like, it doesn't matter that I am necessarily blameless before God, right? I still need a mediator. I can't be perfect before him. Okay, cool. I'm going to move on. I know you're talking about Lot. I'm agreeing with you that Lot did a terrible thing. Yeah, Corbin, I agree. Man. All right. Will he then make repayment to suit you because you reject it? For you must choose and not I. Therefore, declare what you know. Men of understanding will say to me, and the wise. man who hears me will say, Job speaks without knowledge. His words are without insight. Would that Job were tried to the end, because he answers like a wicked man, for he adds rebellion to his sin. So he's saying he's going farther. He's doing worse. He both must have done wrong, and he's adding wickedness on top of it. Right? He's adding wickedness on top of this. And so he deserves much more than that. For he had rebellion to sin, he claps his hands among us and multiplies his words against God. And then we're going to do 35 as well. And then tomorrow we'll do the last two. And Elihu answered and said, do you think this to be just? Do you say, it is my right before God that you ask, what advantage have I? How am I better off than if I had sinned? I will answer you. Which I think that's somewhat of a fair characterization of what's going on there. Oh, hello. He tried to sneak up on us. It did not work. We're good. I will answer you, and your friends with you. Look at the heavens and see, and behold the clouds, which are higher than you. If you have sinned, what do you accomplish against him? And if your transgressions are multiplied, what do you do to him? God is not going to be necessarily affected by your sin or your righteousness, right? He has no need. He has no want. Now, the only thing that I would call out here is that this is generally true, right? God is not in need of us, right? He loves us, right? He doesn't have a bandwidth like we do of ability to love and to redeem and to show this, but it's not that we are actually harming him when we transgress. We're essentially just purchasing for ourselves death, right? We abandon our relationship with our life-giving force. And that's what he's saying here, right? What are you like? What does it matter if you do good for him? What does it matter if you do bad? He does what you love. Absolutely, Corbin. That's totally true. Yes. And that's, I think, the point that I was making is he doesn't have a bandwidth like we do, so he's able to love. He's able to give, that he wants our relationship. That is his reason for creating, is he wants a relationship with us of this world and to bring us back, and which is why he made the ultimate sacrifice, right? It's huge. If you are righteous, what do you give to him? Or what does he receive from your hand? Your wickedness concerns a man like yourself, and your righteousness a son of man. Because of the multitude of oppressions, people cry out. They call for help because of the arm of the mighty, but none says, where is God my maker, who gives songs in the night? Thanks for following, Corbin. I appreciate it, man. Oh, this guy's coming in. Oh, the whole hit them after they're down thing, I'm not a huge fan of. Okay. Who teaches us more than the beasts of the earth? Who makes us wiser than the birds of the heaven? There they cry out, but he does not answer, because of the pride of evil men. Surely God does not hear an empty cry, nor does the Almighty regard it. How much less when you say that you do not see him, and the case is before him, and you are waiting for him. And now, because his anger does not punish, and he does not take much note of transgression, Job opens his mouth in empty talk. He multiplies his words without knowledge. So what I see him saying here, from what I'm taking in from this, is he's like, hey, listen, you don't understand what you're doing, right? Your righteousness can't benefit him. Your wickedness can't hurt him. And you're in a position, Heavenly Breath, thank you so much for the gifts, man. I appreciate it. And the position that you're in is that you're furthering your sin by calling out against him, saying you don't hear him, saying he's not around, saying he's not listening to you, right? That's the position that we're in here right now, Job, is that you're making your sin worse, and you are abusing the grace of God by not responding, by not doing more against you than he is currently right now, right? You should have shut your mouth, repented, asked God what you've done wrong, come humbly before his courtroom and asked for your transgressions, because there's no way that you didn't transgress. We know that you've transgressed against him. And now you're making your sin worse. roll. We got it. We made it through. Sorry, we got to use the new weapon. Everyone gets mad at me when I use Bloodhound's Fang. Oh, I forgot to actually kill him. All right, we're using Bloodhound's Fang again. Get in there. We got it. We got it, everybody. Don't worry. Arrow. Hi, I'm back again. 3 days in a row. Dude, happy. Welcome back, Harry. Appreciate you. I appreciate you. We have to jump off a cliff. Here, hold on. Here we go. We're good. We got it. Try running. No, I'm going to go around. Where are the heads of the dragons? I actually kind of believe that, but I'm not going to do it. I wanted to jump down there. How are you, Harry? Welcome in, man. You got it. All right. We're about to close out here. We're a little bit over today. I really appreciate y'all being here. And I do appreciate the questions. I may not always be perfect with answering them, but I'll try to give answers when I think I have something. I'm just a regular guy, so always take what I say with at least somewhat of a grain of salt. When do you normally start streaming and when do you normally finish? Usually it's an hour. So usually it's 7:30 a.m. Eastern. That's 5:30 a.m. Mountain Time, which is my time. And usually it goes for 1 hour. I've been going a little bit over recently. Yeah. And depending on where you're at, it's all different times, obviously. Try Poison, then Scarlet Rot. Try Rain Battle. Do we actually do that? What am I getting attacked by? Oh. Ouch. We're still alive. We're still alive. Wanting him to stay inside that poison cloud. Yes, sir. Do it again. Do it again. Oh, he's going to be too far away. I think we got him. Oh, man. That was nuts. He's pretty poisoned, though. I think we're going to be all right. We're going to be all right. Ouch. Okay, that... No. Nope. South Africa. Okay. So we start at 12:30 your time. South Africa's cool. I haven't been to South Africa. I spent some time in Kenya and Uganda. We need to poison him again. Okay. All right. Well. See, some of that's bothered me a little bit. I got to be real. I think I'm just rolling the wrong way. I think it's my fault. I'll take. We're gonna die. Is he not in the actual stuff? Okay. We're almost done. We got him. This isn't even characterized as a boss. Just realized that. It gave us boss rewards, though. That's cool. Go to Cape Town. It's beautiful. Table Mountain in the background. Okay, sweet. Maybe someday. We just had our 5th baby, so I'm not going to be going anywhere for a while. But I really appreciate the invitation. That's awesome. All right. Let's look at life application piece. What stands out to y'all on this stuff? What do you think we apply to our lives from this? Is there anything else over here? Thanks, Harry. I appreciate it, man. I think one of the things that stand out to me is that, man, like this is where I really struggle. We think so highly of ourselves. Like even the concept, and I know, like I know for some people, like this is a hard thing to concept with and to like agree with what I'm about to say. Like how high of myself do I think that God even has to be fair with me? Right? Like and I know maybe I'm like the reality is like I'm so grateful he's not fair with me. Because if he was fair with me, I'd be dead. And I think that's the hardest part for us to actually get on board with and actually be okay with, is the fact that our sin begets death. That's what it does. And every single one of us has sinned and fallen short. And so I struggle with this idea that like God owes mankind something. Like that he must be a certain way because we have an expectation of it. And it's like the reality is, man, all of us deserve far worse than what Job experienced. And yet God, for some reason, redeems us. And that's like the entire beauty of the picture. And yet, like, even as we're reading this, we have people coming through being like, hey, how could God do this? He's essentially playing pawns with Job, or like he's done this. Like there's all these like issues that we have with the root of like what God has done and why. But like the reality is this, we deserve this and worse. And instead of doing that, God has redeemed us, taken us in, showing us something different. And he does it with Job too, right? We're going to see near the end that he restores him. And so it's hard because it's like, man, this is like one of the biggest things to grapple with is the reality of the nature of my reality. Like who I actually am, what actually is this life about and is this world about? Because if I'm so full of myself that I can't see that the reality is God owes me absolutely nothing, and that's true, right? A lot of what Elihu says is true in and of itself. He doesn't understand the real reason for his suffering, and I'm going to go in here and die immediately because I have no heals and nothing left. I didn't realize I was walking into a... You know what? I might not. Okay, never mind. I did. I died. But God's justice is not shaken by what we don't understand. And I think that's a huge, huge thing for me, is that just because I don't understand it doesn't mean that God's justice is not just. And that's so important. Also, Gian Prava, what's up? Hi, what's up? Welcome in. We're in the Dragon's Pit. Oh, it put the runes on the outside of the door. Oh, gracious. You know what we're going to do? Hold on. We're going to poison this thing. We're going to go in here. We're going to call on our friend. And we're going to run. Roll. There we go. Ooh, he tried. He still focused me. Take a drink. Just keep him. Oh, goodness. Okay, hold on. Look at that. Nice job, brother. Oh, hold on. We'll just both keep double using the... I'm out of stamina. Oh no. We did it. We got him. Great job, everybody. Bro breaking the monsters. Oh, this looks cool. What can we do with that? Where is that at? We gotta find that. Among the 700 other weapons that we could use. That's not it. Is this it? Dragon Hunter's Great Katana. This is what we're doing. We're going to use this weapon going forward. That's what we're going to use. We got to go level it up. The Judas comparison works too. He betrayed God for money, but we do that for free all the time. That's a very good call, Donnie. That is a very, very good point. Yeah. Yeah, man, it's tough because it's like we get people, coming in, and like I want people to feel free to come in and ask whatever questions that they have. But what is the consistent theme is that God must prove his worthiness to me as like a idiot man. And that's the consistent theme that I see is like God must prove his worthiness. He must prove his reality and his worthiness to me. And if he can't do that, he's not worthy of my worship. And it's like just a complete echo of the entire just the core issue of humanity, that we are a God unto ourselves, and that's our entire issue. And that's why to me when people talk about, well, all religions are similar, it's like, no, they're not. This is so different than any other belief system in the world. It's mankind by their own effort taking themselves closer to God, and this turns that completely on its head, and it's completely different. The aspect of true forgiveness with complete justice does not exist in any other religion in the world, of both of those things being accurately portrayed in the sacrifice of Jesus. And that's what we're looking forward to. That's what we get to be excited about as we go into Easter this week, is like, man, he has taken it all. He's done it all. It's all him. It has nothing to do with our own strength, our own ability. And we just get to experience the love of Christ and know that he has us in his hand. It's incredible. Okay, we got to go to the, we're going to go back over here. Try to see if we can level up this cool blade we just got. Because then people will stop making fun of me for using Bloodhound's Fang, and they'll be able to actually respect me as a human being, It'll be all right. It'll be all right. Come on. Okay. All my boys are waking up, and they're in there yelling in their room. They're not allowed to get up for 10 minutes. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think we're going to stop there. Yeah? No? Should we use Hand of Melania? That sounds pretty cool, too. What is this at? C? How do we get better scaling on stuff? Or is that just like a... Maybe we don't. Maybe we don't. Oh, we can't change that? Okay, good. You need a lot of arcane to use specific weapons. I'm going to do this one too. I have to have multiple. Okay, we're going to stop there. We're going to see which one of these we like better. Twinned Knight Swords. Some of these seem pretty cool. All right. Hold on. We gotta pull it. We gotta use it. Let's remove the Milady and this. Can we? I did kind of want to try that one too, though. What we could do is play the game where we just level up. Where was that? This one, the Sacred Relic Sword, and just go and like farm a gajillion million Sean Soul. TJ, my lord. I'm no one's lord. Just go farm like a billion runes, you know? Maybe someday. All right. We got to find our way back to where we're right here. That's where we're at. All right. I think we're good. I think we're done, y'all. We're gonna go. I'm gonna head out of this cave real quick. Am I in the wrong place? Maybe not. Is this heading into where Bale's territory is? I think it is. I think we're heading into Bale. All right, Sean, sounds good. Thanks for being here, man. We can't. Oh, still the same. Look at that. We're gonna go fight Bale. If I didn't have enough Shadow Tree fragments for the putrescent guy, I don't think there's any way I'm gonna have enough for fighting Bale. Do you think this weapon is going to be good against dragons, or is it going to be poor because dragons are... Was he 4 dragons? Let's go check it out and see. It does okay. Is my guy coming? Uh-oh. How many different types of lightning exist in this game? Because there's like red lightning, yellow lightning, and then whatever this orange stuff is. Dragons are so tanky in the DLC, so much harder than the base game. I don't know, I think we're wiping them out right now. Oh, I'm stuck. I can't get my... There we go, we got it. We got it. Zach, have I talked to you this morning yet? I don't remember. There's a lot of people commenting. It's good to see you, though, if I haven't. Hold on, we're going to die. There we go. Don't do it. Don't. We're cutting in. Good morning, dude. Gotta move. I feel like it does get... Ouch. Okay, never mind. I was about to say something, and then I got checked by the dragon, so I'll shut my mouth. I'll shut my mouth. No one worry about it. We're good. I didn't realize we had that cool slicing thing. What's dragon scale flesh, dude? That sounds cool. Sounds very cool. All right. Let's head up the hill. We should probably head this way first. Check it out. I appreciate you guys being here. Tomorrow morning, we're going to go through the final, I don't know what you call it, the final statements from Elihu. And then after that, Monday morning is going to be our stepping straight into the Lord responding to him. Responding to Joe, responding to his 3 friends. So I'm excited to get into that section. And then after that, we're going to head into the New Testament. So we need to start talking about what book we're going into there. I think I would like to go with... That was terrible. That was awful. I'd probably like to go with a letter, like one of the epistles. But I'm open to ideas there as well. So if you guys have thoughts about what you'd like to read through, let me know. And we should be finished for 35. Well, I think we're 36, 37 tomorrow. And it goes to 42. So the next few days we'll be done. Egon's cookbook. So if you guys have ideas, let me know. Books of the Bible. Give your thoughts. We can come up with something. Should we commune with the dragon over here?
Warrior true. Picture yourself on the throbbing heart. It would
Yeah, that sounds gross.
And your
Devour draconic essence. Is this a bad thing? Does anybody know what this does? No? All right. Well, then you just say yes.
There you will find Belampa, devour.
Oh, okay.
In the name of
Oh, she's for Lord Placidusax? We already killed him. Does she know that? I don't know if she knows that we killed that guy. Bale's Tyranny. Oh, he only has... There's only 2 things here. Okay. Ghost Flame Breath. Cool. We got some Ghost Flame. All right, I don't think we're going to make it to Bale today. We'll go up there tomorrow. I got to go. I hope you guys have a great day, though. I really appreciate everyone for being here and all the good questions and stuff. It's been a big blessing for me. Tomorrow morning, we're finishing Elihu's conversation, then we'll jump into God's. In the meantime, think about what you guys want to read next in the New Testament, or else I'll just come up with something. But in the meantime, keep Christ the center focus of your life. Stay in step with the Spirit. You guys have a blessed day. I'm going to go enjoy a day of rest. And we'll see you guys, anyone who's going to be here tomorrow morning, 7:30 a.m. Eastern, 5:30 a.m. What's the Mountain Time? 12:30 p.m. apparently in South Africa. That's what we're learning now. Hey, Donna, you have a good day. See you tomorrow morning. I really appreciate you being here every day. It's cool to have people regularly come in, which is awesome. All right, y'all be blessed. We'll see y'all on the other side. Bye.